Hi and good day. A very serious problem that most people will experience one time or another is suboccipital tension, suboccipital spasm. The suboccipital muscles are a group of muscles that stem from underneath the back of the skull. They attach to the first two vertebrae, the atlas and the axis. They make its way back underneath the skull, and this is the muscle that actually helps hold the skull back. When we're looking forward and doing our activities of looking down, texting on a computer, and being in these different awkward positions, these muscles are restraining and helping us keep that head from going forward. This is what's kind of withstanding that forward flexion of that head area. So I want you to understand that headaches that are commonly seen, tension-related headaches, all stem from the suboccipital region. You have muscles behind the upper traps that attach behind the skull. These suboccipital muscles can squeeze, they can compress the greater occipital nerve root, go over the head behind the eyes. And these muscles generally is what allows you to nod this way, kind of nodding backwards. When they squeeze, they'll bring the head backwards. Now, when these muscles become very fatigued, as if you were looking down a lot, what eventually starts to happen is we start to overutilize these muscles, because as our positioning becomes off, these muscles have to work extra hard to allow us to look upward so our vision stays in front of us. In other words, if these muscles totally fatigue, it's going to do this to our head. Nothing's going to bring it back. So there are a couple of things I want you to do to help isolate these muscles. First, I want you to tuck your chin in, and I just want you to tuck it in and just hold it in, and as you hold it in, you'll feel the back of those muscles start to contract. Now, if you go back a little bit, slightly back, you'll still feel them start to contract, okay? But make sure you keep that chin tucked in, and just extend back just a little bit. Now don't extend your head this way. We only want to work the first upper part, that first atlas and the upper part below the skull. Tuck the chin in and just come back slowly, just like this. Okay? Now understand that these muscles primarily allow us to go back and allows us to rotate. So in other words, if we rotate too far, the muscle will contract and keep us from over-rotating our neck. This is where those occipital muscles come into play. But although when you're spending a lot of time in this forward head position, these occipital muscles are overworked. Now, another great stretch we can do, we can go ahead and we can tuck the chin in. Let's take our hand, put our forearm against our forehead, and what I want you to do is grab underneath the skull with your fingers and just pull it down, straight down, but grab underneath the skull and hold it there about 5 seconds. Now you can do the other side. Now what you'll do again, put your forearm against your head, take your fingers underneath the skull, grab underneath that skull, and I want you just to pull just that upper part down. Don't pull it hard, easy, because it's a small little area. So you want to stretch those muscles out. It's very, very important. That will actually reduce a lot of the headaches, a lot of the migraines, problems behind the eyes, as well as radiation of pains into the neck or even actually into the arms and shoulders. There's a lot of referred trigger points in the suboccipital region. Now, what you can also do, particularly if you get headaches, neck pain, radiation of pain, you can take your thumb, come underneath the skull, and you'll find points that are very tender and go in a little circular motion for about 10 seconds or so, and then release it. And go to the next point and kind of work your way all along the back of the skull, right underneath that skull, and find those areas that are very tender, and then you can actually go little circular motions and work that out. Now, the last thing you can do after that, particularly if you're very sore or inflamed, take an ice pack. Put the ice pack with a paper towel underneath the skull. Use that for like 10-15 minutes. You can use that whenever you want. That will reduce headaches, reduce inflammation, take away a lot of the trigger points, the myofascial points, and help you a lot with your pains that you're having. It's an excellent thing you can do, but most important, try to get in the habit of looking down from the chin. Remember, the head weighs 12 pounds, and for every inch you go forward, it's an additional 10 pounds. 2 inches forward, 32 pounds of force at the back of the muscles of the neck and shoulders have to hold up, and 3 inches forward is 42 pounds. Now, even above beyond that, that starts to multiply even more. Remember, your head has weight. It's dead weight. It's kind of like holding a bowling ball up. The further you hold it out in front of you, the harder it's going to be for your shoulder joint. But those joints behind our neck are withstanding the force, the weight of the head, that heavy weight, and that's what leads to disc degenerations, osteoarthritis, spondylosis, pinched nerves, and the list goes on. But most important, try to focus on these suboccipital muscles, because with stress, chronic emotional tension, physical tension, improper posture of looking down, forward head posture, rounded shoulders, all puts a tremendous toll behind the back of the skull. Remember, those muscles are very important. They're tied in neurologically back to the nervous system, and they do other neurological functions as well. So if your head is in a forward head posture, your positioning is off, your equilibrium is off, and you can start even having visual problems and other conditions related to the nervous system, because it's all tied into that upper part of the area. Remember, the bottom of the brainstem comes down to the second vertebrae. So this is a very critical area, and this is something you really need to take care of. Please leave your questions if you have any for me. I ask you please to share this video and subscribe if you haven't. And most important, make it a great day. I'm Dr. Alan Mandell.